Everybody, how's everybody doing today? Welcome to my Sunday live stream where we talk about photography and I answer questions best I can. And I always like to let the viewer, to drive the conversation. So bring up any topics you'd like to talk about, or if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer those. And I'm still a bit under the weather. For those of you that were in my Thursday or Friday stream, uh, yeah, that was kind of the peak, but it's still kind of lingering. So I apologize if my voice is a little bit raspy or if I seem a little more low energy than usual. But it's good to see everyone. I see Zach is here and Jeff and Plug Nichols and Roger. Good to see you. T Dobbs, David Crooks, Marco. Good morning. Yes, it's cold this morning. It was like 24 degrees when I got up this morning. Outside, not in my house. My house was like 50. But this office here is nice and toasty at about 68 degrees, maybe 65. But anyhow, so you know, excuse me, I gotta find a cough button. Um, okay, I found the cough button. I'm sorry about that. Um, the cold has kind of evolved from just you know just my nose dripping to a sore throat to congestion. Now it's coughing over the past 5, 6 days. But that said, it's the time of the year, right? So let me take this moment to wish everyone a happy holidays and happy New Year. If I don't see you again before that, uh, I'm having a great time. Otherwise, I got together with some family last week, and I got plans next 3, 4 days next week to get together with friends and family that some of them I haven't seen almost all year. My goodness, how time flies, right? So it's a very good time for me anyway to uh, get to see everyone again and enjoy this time of the year. It's just so cold. I made the mistake of trying to go out yesterday and do a little bit of photography, and I also went to whatchamacallit. I went to a Nikon Sony event yesterday at the camera store. They had their reps in there, and was able to get hands-on with, like, the Z50 Mark II, the Z6 III, the A1 Mark whatever the latest one is. Seems like as soon as I walked up to the table, uh, they just made the assumption that's what I wanted to see, was this new Sony camera. I guess it's an A whatever it is. It's an A1, I think. I didn't really pay that much attention to it, but I picked it up, I looked through the EVF, right? It's okay, it's a camera, you know? I don't know what anyway, they seem really excited about it, and, um and you know how I am, right? I'm like, "Oh, it's okay, it's alright." Uh, but I was thinking about trading in my old Sony A7R5, and they did a shutter count on it, and it had 6,900 shots on it, and I'm like, "Wow, that many." And I thought about it, I says, I put 4 or 500 on yesterday because I was doing some flash photography and just practicing different things with flash. Because 'cause I'm supposed to review this lens, so but yeah, I would say 90% of the shots on that camera are just test shots for testing lenses that, companies send me. I don't really use it, and, uh, it was, it's just collecting dust for the most part in terms of my personal use. So it's a good test camera for lenses and things, but I wish these companies would release some more micro four third lenses, because the full frame lenses that they keep sending me, either Nikon or Sony, some APS-Cs for Fuji and the rest. I mean, they're great lenses. They really are, but uh, why not make them for Micro Four Thirds? They're small enough, you know. Like the make some nice little autofocus lenses for like 120 bucks for Micro Four Thirds. That would be a great thing. But because I always ask, what format do you have it in? And they say the usual suspects, and I'm like, all right, send me the Sony this time. Send me the, Fuji this time. Whatever. Uh, I'll uh, I'll do the best I can. So that's partially why I kind of keep those cameras, but at the same time, it's like I'm just not using them. I should just sell them all off and buy some Micro Four Third lenses I really want. I still want to have like the 15 millimeter f1.7. I'm tempted by the 150 to 600. If I get that gimbal in, I think that would be a viable lens for me. I wouldn't want to carry that thing around when I'm birding, but I think on a gimbal, that would be a pretty awesome little setup for like Conowingo and stuff. But I only do that a couple of times a year, so I'm like, gosh, do I really want to spend that much on a lens for something I don't do very often? Because I would never take a gimbal, say, to our local park here, Huntley Meadows, or some of the other places I can go to locally. But yeah, I find myself towards the end of the year talking myself out of gear more than talking myself into it. I guess that's a good thing because when I was at the camera store yesterday, it was damn near impossible. I mean, any other time earlier this year, I would have bought something, but I bought nothing yesterday when I was there. I almost bought that Fujifilm Instax Evo. I still might get one tomorrow because, but then I got like three other instant cameras that are not Instax. But that little Evo is pretty cool. Because the three that I have, only one is color, and the color's not that great. But I've tried a few of the Instax cameras, and I've seen them, and the color's great on those. Uh, but anyhow, but they didn't have it in stock. They have it at their other store, so I might go down there. So shout out to District Camera. Always try to buy local if you can. Support your local camera stores and keep our hobby alive and well. Um, so I looked at the ZF again because that's selling for it's on sale now for like 1,800, and you can get it with the 40 millimeter f2 for 2,000 and change. Excuse me. Um, but I just couldn't pull the trigger on it. I was like, I have a Nikon DF, and this camera's, in terms of what I would use it for, doesn't offer anything new, right? Because it's just primarily my DF and my other cameras are primarily just when I feel like doing something different, right? Taking something out other than my Pen F, for example. And the ZF just didn't offer enough difference between I'm sorry, the ZF didn't offer enough difference to me as my Nikon DF. Other than it would be a lot more compact system. You throw on a 40 millimeter f2 with that, and it's pretty small, lightweight system. But it I don't know, maybe later. But what's surprising and what really surprises me is that camera doesn't sell better than it does. Like, why isn't sold out everywhere? Because it really is an excellent camera, and the pricing is really good on it, for what you're getting, in my opinion. It's well made, solid, solid feel in the hand. There's a lot of great pancake lenses out there for cheap that you can get for, native lenses from Nikon. They have the 40, I think the 26 and a 28, something like that. They have some decent pancakes, like f2s or something, that you can throw on there, and you have a really nice travel light setup. And of course, it's got the nostalgic factor, right? Uh, I'm just surprised it's not selling a lot better. And I say that based on the what you can buy them used for like 1600 in mint condition, which, and they're everywhere. I just don't understand it myself. So it begs the question, if they release sort of a vintage style camera like a Pen F or something in micro four thirds, what's going to happen? Is it really, I can see why camera manufacturers look at it as a little bit risky, or might look at it as risky, because, Canon hasn't done it yet. There's been rumors about it. And Fuji does it, right, with their X100. Who else is there? Sony hasn't done it. So Sony and Canon hasn't bothered with a vintage thing. Nikon was kind of the first out of the gate of the major, the three full frame companies. And I don't get the sense it's doing as well as expected. As nice as that camera is, because there's just nothing wrong with that camera, in my opinion. I mean, if you don't like the ergonomics and stuff because it's kind of a vintage style, I get that. But vintage style is kind of, I thought, would be in style, like in fashion or popular, because everybody's buying the heck out of those X100Vs. The Leica Deluxe 8 sold out. Um, so I don't get it. I don't get why a vintage style full frame camera with some decent lenses is not selling better or sold out like the X100V is. What do you guys think? Let me know. um, let's see what's going on in the chat here. Let me scroll back up. Let's see. I see Phil is here. Hi from the UK. And Thomas, good to see you. -4 Celsius. Yeah, that's about what it is here, I think. And David is here. Hi, David. Visit a telescope and camera store in New York. Was tempted by a Lindhoff 4x5 camera. Yeah. There's something about vintage cameras. Oh, you'll never guess what I bought. I did buy something this week. It's for my Hasselblad, 6x6, my Hasselblad 500C. I bought a Fujifilm Instax back for it, so I can take instant pictures with it, with regular Fujifilm Instax film. It was on Amazon and it was on sale for like 30 bucks off, so I took it. It was like 250 bucks. It's normally like 280. But it hasn't been out that long, so it doesn't go on sale very often, but I bought one. But I put it on, it's going to take, I won't get it for another couple of weeks though. I don't know why, I guess it's coming directly from the company. But yeah, I'm gonna try that. That's gonna be cool. So now I can go out and shoot Instax, shoot my 120 film, and then and of course digital with my, whatever other digital camera I bring. I had been shopping some digital backs for it, but excuse me, some more vintage ones, but they're still a couple $1,000. They have some older ones that are like 1,000, but that's a little bit too old. Uh, maybe, I'd like to be able to use the back on its own, so I might have to wait till I can afford the latest 5 grand. So they're still way out of my budget. Um, But yeah, I can't wait for that Instax thing to come in for my Hasselblad. And Roger says, "Do you know much about paper shooting?" I I don't know. I've seen like I think I've seen them. Uh, you yeah. I no. I don't know much about them. I've seen pictures of them, but I looked at it and I was like, I yeah. I didn't look at it. It didn't keep my interest long enough for me to keep reading about it. Whatever wherever I saw it. $1,800. $1,800 for a Lindhoff 4x5? What what the heck? I mean, I wow. Okay, with the lens it's 2,100, 1,400. It's not worth it. Yeah, I don't know. 4x5 is a full on, it's expensive and hard to find film, I think. Maybe not, but it's yeah, you can get one of those little graphics things, right? For a lot less. At least you used to be able to. And obviously the image quality is pretty much the same with the right lens, but oh yeah, 1,800 bucks, I wouldn't do it. And good morning, Gordon. Good to see you. And Steve, good to see you, Steve. And Jeff Painter, good to see you. And oh my goodness, Robin, how are you? Merry Christmas and happy holidays to you. So good to see you. Wow, man. I thought you'd be out partying, with your friends and family there. But I'm so glad you could come in. That's great. And so it's a lot of personal dollars locked up in gear. You are right to pull back and buy new items wisely. I know. I don't do that enough. I just bought too many cameras. I get excited. I think the last exciting purchase I made was actually that Fujifilm X-H2. I was really excited when I bought it, and I flushed out the lenses that I would use with it right away. Like within 2 weeks, I had every lens I would use with it. The 23 1.4, 33 1.4, the 56 1.4, the 55 to 200. So I flushed out four lenses right there. Plus, I have the 18 to 50. What is it? The 18, whatever the kit lens is, 2.8 to f4. Uh, and anytime I take that camera out, I always just put the kit lens on. I rarely put anything else on there. So I don't know. I have a lot of money invested in that. I mean, I traded a bunch of stuff to get all that stuff. I didn't just buy it outright. Uh, I think the only lens that I paid pretty much outright, I got like $100 off, but I paid was the 33 1.4, which is a wonderful lens. But other than that, everything else was I bought used and I traded stuff in to get it. So my total investment in that system is not that much. Assuming we don't count the trades have any value. They did. But I was really excited about that. And then I don't shoot with it, other than in my studio to do a couple of test shots. And I record some of my videos using it, uh, things like that. But I don't know. I gotta, like you said, choose wisely, which really kind of brings me to another topic I want to get to. But let me check on the chat here. Thank you, Robin. I see you joined my. You don't have to join me, but I appreciate the support. But that's awesome. Thanks for your support, Robin. It's totally unnecessary, but I appreciate it. Um, and T Dob says I support my local camera stores. Yes, always. And Robin says, I can't stay long as 11:30 p.m. and I need to wake up early tomorrow. Wow, you got a photo job tomorrow. That's awesome. I appreciate you dropping in either way. Stay as long as you can, but man, I go to bed at like 9 o'clock if I got a photo job the next day. It kind of depends though, what time the photo job is. If the photo job is at night, like there's a lot of events and parties going on. Oh, and Robin, well, you're not going to do it, but if you're still here, I found a little kind of hack to get the OM1 to focus a little better in low light. And this is not like a trick, okay? It's an actual hack, like it works. It worked, but and maybe you've already tried this and it didn't matter to you, but put the camera into night vision, right? When you're shooting in low light, and the camera can detect faces and eyes a lot better. I don't know what it is, why that is, because when you put night vision on, or night view, I forget exactly what it's called, but you know what I'm talking about. The live view screen brightens up so you can see everything, even though it's kind of dark. Now you won't get your actual exposure, right? Your exposure that's displayed is not going to be accurate, but you know what you're doing, so you can look at the EV meter and other ways to figure if you got the right exposure. But so I'm going to do some testing comparing night vision without using night vision in low light, and try and get some actual uh, quantify some actual metrics, right? Of saying using night live view, or I got to look it up what it's called. But using night vision uh, improves the face detect autofocus by a certain percentage, right? So I'll take like 500 shots, count them off, how many are sharp, not sharp, like I did last year. Because you're one of the few people that identified the uh, OM1's kind of weakness in low light when it comes to autofocus. And of course, I made a follow-up video to kind of verify what you found. And yeah, it's a thing. It's actually, Robin, you're correct that the OM1 does a struggle in very low light to focus relative to the M1 Mark III. It's still better than my Sony. Okay, it's better than my Sony. I haven't tested against the Fuji, but my Sony can't focus in low light worth a S. Okay, but the Uh, so the OM one's way better than the Sony, and I should quantify that too, right? Like I'm just pulling numbers, just going with gut feeling here. But if I can quantify it in some kind of testing model, but anyway, give that a shot. Maybe not on your event. Don't test it out like on a paid job, but try it out later and let me know what you find. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna do that. I need to get my act together and put together some dates. So Gordon's referring to the annual uh, meetup that I have with photographers from around the world. And we talk primarily about micro four thirds and photography. So I'm going to gear it a lot more towards the photography side as much as I can, unless some odd thing happens and there's a Pen F2 released. I don't know. Then we might talk about that a little bit. But yeah, the annual events, I think, as you've seen, many of us on YouTube have progressed to talking more about photography and less about gear, right? At least the core people that I've worked with in the past, Maddie and uh, Peter, Jimmy, we've all kind of expanded into other genres of photography, and not genre, but expanded our channel to talk more about photography. I'm still kind of the tutorial guy and live stream guy, right? I haven't changed too much in the last couple of years. I've changed a lot since I started, but last couple of years I've been focusing on live streaming and then tutorials. So last year I did a lot of like fix me things, tutorials. I still do tutorials once in a while, but anyhow, Uh, what I like most about having a YouTube channel is actually connecting with my viewers and helping them as much as I can, or helping you guys as much as I can. Uh, and it's not efficient. right? Because I'm helping like one person at a time during a stream versus making a video like I did last week about live comp and about live time, really. You know, a lot more people are helped that way. But those take time. Funny thing about that video, the live time and live comp video that I made, I actually recorded most of that, I'd say 80% of that video, I recorded it as part of the review for the Godox flash that they sent me. And I decided, this video is too long to talk about a $35 flash, So I cut all that out and separated it and said, I'll just take this part of the video. And that's why when you watch it, there's no like intro or anything. It's just like, hey, I'm going to start taking pictures, with this flash. Anyhow, let's see. Plato's here. Good to see you, Robin. Merry Christmas. And Plug Nickel says, bought a Nikon ZFC just to flip and just had to laugh. Shutter dial and also a switch for PASM, but hey, it looks vintage anyway. Yeah. I mean, this was the complaint of the Nikon DF, right? Was that they put all these manual dials on there, but you can still control the camera just like any other digital Nikon camera. And the Nikon ZF is pretty much the same. It's just like the ZFC, where you still have your conventional modern controls, front dial, rear dial, and you can kind of ignore the dials on the top. Same thing with Fuji, actually. Uh, you just put everything in auto, and then you can control things. But uh, Fuji doesn't have a PASM dial on some of their cameras, the X series, right? The XT5, XT4, and so on. Whereas like my X-H2 is a little more conventional. It does have a PASM. Okay, and T-Dog says, the only thing I need is the R7 Mark II if they ever release a new one. That would be interesting. I mean, the R7, I think, is a nice little camera because it has basically everything their R6 Mark II has, but it's an APS-C version. So we have IBIS, the same autofocusing system with all the different things, and just in a smaller format. So you get that crop factor, and I forget, it's actually a little bit higher res APS-C sensor too, right? It's like 30 megapixels or 33, something like that. So it's really a powerhouse of a camera. And the price point is not bad, right? It's like $1,200, $1,300. It's like 1,500 not on sale, but you can always find a sale if you just wait. It'll always go on sale down to 12, 1,300. So I've looked at that camera a couple times myself, but I always uh what kills me is like, why would I spend, let's say, $1,200 plus a few lenses, so we're talking 2 grand, right? On a system that I would just never use because I have far more capable systems already. I thought about it because some of my students, not some, but a lot of them use Canon. And when they hand me their camera, I'm fumbling to find the setting a lot of times. But I think even if I owned a Canon, that would still be the case because I just wouldn't use it. So, because I had a Canon M50 for about 2 or 3 years, didn't put any pictures on it. It just sat in my dry box there, so I sold it. And same thing with my XT30 I got rid of that, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm curious what the R7 Mark II would bring to the table, because it's already a very capable camera. I mean, if you can get a good deal on R7 right now, I don't see any reason to wait for a Mark II, unless there's something that it's not doing now already that you'd want. Unless you probably already have a R7 already. And Darko says, Nikon users are not ready for retro, in my humble opinion, because the DF was cool, but ergos never seem to take off with their clients. Well, for uh, Okay, I agree with that statement, but I think it's a little bit too narrow in the sense that, when you make a camera like that, you're trying to attract new customers. Of course, a lot of existing customers and users of Nikon will buy it, but I think their main audience or their goal was to attract new customers. So that's why I'm surprised it's not doing better, given what you see Fuji doing with their X100. Because there's a lot of people just buy the X100, I would assume, okay? But they're buying the X100 and nothing else. That's their only camera, right? They didn't start with Fuji before. They didn't have a Fuji before. They're just been using their cell phone. They add an X100. So I'm assuming that's what Nikon was trying to do, was attract new customers. So I agree with your statement that there's going to be a lot of Nikon users that like the more modern layout, mode dial, front and rear dials, etc. And there'll be some that want to buy it because they have this nostalgia for the previous film cameras. But I would think their goal would be to attract new customers with a ZF. So I don't think, yeah, you're right, Marshall. Marshall says, I don't think Canon made a good looking camera back in the day. They had some rangefinders that were pretty cool, the G something, right? Uh, Canon G, let me just type that in. I mean, the AE1, of course, that's your standard SLR, DSLR. Yeah, the Canonet, this guy. I thought this was a good looking camera. Anyhow, 40 millimeter f1.7. Yeah, I like it. Uh, but that's about the only one I can think of, right? They might have others, but you're right. And ATR Bear says, I hope you're doing well. Yeah, I was feeling really good yesterday, middle of the day. And then it went downhill. I got up this morning and I'm a little worried I'm going to miss Christmas. So I can't go to my friend's house or my family with a cold. If I'm still feeling like this next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I can't go out. That would be a bummer. And Robert's here. Good morning. Good to see you. And then I'm sorry, Gordon, or Marshall, I popped up your thing here. Nikon Olympus and Leica had beautiful looking cameras, but Canon A1 were just functional. Interesting. I guess just the old DSLR style in general I find attractive, right? Um, but yeah, but I see where you're coming from. The Leica 3C is really beautiful, and the 3F, the Leica 3 series were really nice. A lot of the Olympus rangefinders, like the Pen F and others. And then Nikon had some interesting cameras with their F, right? The F3, I think, is very, very popular. And it's a cool looking camera. And I think that's what the Nikon ZF is kind of based on, is it looks more like an F3 to me than the other one. I wish they had a silver top though. That would have really sealed the deal for me. If it had a silver top with, say, a vintage burgundy or dark brown leather, that would be a lot more interesting. But it's like you can't find those on the shelf. You have to order them. Uh, I see Norm is here. Good to see you, Norm. And Top says, "Oh, you have a Canon AE1. Okay. Fuji fixed their AF issues or not? I have no idea. You know, I haven't updated my firmware since I got the camera. It's still on version 1 point something. So I'll update it once the general consensus is that it's fixed or close enough. You know, I don't need perfection, but I'll wait. I'll wait. I mean, I don't use the camera very often anyway, so I'm not in any rush. Gordon says, Rob, favorite cameras released in 2024, any format or lenses? I haven't thought about it that much. What's been released this year? I mean, I keep looking back at older cameras, new cameras. Uh, I'm just gonna look real quick because my brain's still a little bit foggy right now. So let's look together here. Um, Let me close these down here. Okay. So we have 2024. So we had Panasonic. Okay, not excited about any of those. A1 Mark II. I think that's what they had on the table. How much is this camera? There's no pricing. The Z52, no. Q3, no. XM5, definitely not. Uh, and this, yeah, I'm not terribly excited about that one either, to be honest. Otherwise, I would have bought it, right? The OM1 Mark II. That's because I already have an OM1 Mark I. Gosh, you know, let me look at your question again. Favorite cameras released in 2024, any format and lenses. Okay. All right, so if I had to pick, let's say, if I had to pick three, okay, let's just do pick three. Three that I would have on my shelf. Oddly, the Deluxe 8 would be one, not in any particular order here. GH7 would be two. And I'm a little torn between the Fuji X-T50 and the X100S. But I would say XT50. So XT50, GH7, and Deluxe 8. These three I find very interesting cameras. Okay, so Deluxe 8. I think Leica did an excellent job of rebranding, you know, the Panasonic Deluxe 7. I kind of wish I bought this instead of my Deluxe 7 LX100 Mark II. But only a little bit, right? I'm very, very happy with my LX100 Mark II, but I'd rather have a Deluxe 8. The GH7, this is a camera that, you know, I think is an amazing video camera. And of course, it can do everything with stills. So as far as the most capable camera on this list, this is the most capable camera I think that's been released because it does both video and stills, and it does an excellent job. It's a little bulky, but I would definitely buy this if I didn't already have like an OM1, because I'm primarily a photographer, not so much a videographer. And then finally the XT50. Uh, I'm finding that my X-H2 is just a little bit too bulky, and I wish I had the XT50, but they're just asking too much money for it right now on the used market. So I might have to wait another year or two before I get one of those. Those would be my three picks for cameras. Everything else on this list, the reason they didn't really make it is because they're basically the same thing as the previous versions. The Z52 is not much more than the regular Z50 in my opinion. Yeah, better autofocus, all of that, but and I'm looking at it from a photography point of view, right? Uh, XM5, no EVF, so that rules it out. Q343, I think the Q3 at 28 millimeters makes more sense than having one locked in at 43 millimeters. Because you can crop in easily on 60 megapixels. So this is a little bit limiting. C80, who cares? You know, TG7 is better than these Ricos. The R1, again, this is makes no sense to me as an enthusiast. R5 Mark II is interesting, but look, $4,300. So on and on and on, right? Those would be my three cameras. Uh, lenses, I don't even want to venture with lenses, but that's where I would go. Is because the GH7 is, I rarely talk about it, but it's always in the back of my mind. You know, to get a GH7 because it's just such a powerful camera. It's the most powerful Micro Four Thirds camera ever released, probably in terms of video features. But yeah, it just doesn't fit my photography lifestyle. But I think it's a really exciting camera for Micro Four Thirds. And then, yeah, the XT50, really, it's basically an X100V with interchangeable lens and an EVF, right? Or an XM5 with an EVF. I don't know. I would, but yeah, I like that. You put on some of the pancake lenses that you have for Fuji on an XT50, and you have a nice little compact setup for street. Um, Robin, again, thank you, Robin, for your support. And I haven't, yeah, I haven't talked about it much lately, but I do have a membership for my channel that goes just to support the work that I do here in general, online and offline, to help other photographers. So there's not really any particular perks other than recognition here in the forum that you are a member and supporting me, and it's always greatly appreciated. Uh, but I picked the lowest one possible, 99 cents, right? Just because I'm always giving my all every time I come on. This is the best of the best, really, for me. From me, I can't do more. So if I had a membership, I would break if I had to do more than I'm already doing for members. So uh, that's why I didn't. But so many people asked me, to have a membership. So I said, okay, I'll have a membership. Uh, 99 cents. Why not? And Wayne says, I purchased three bodies recently, the EM10 Mark II, the EM1X, and the OM1 Mark II. Some lenses as well. You're not the only one. Yeah. I could get the EM1X is selling between $600 and $700 now. It's so tempting, but it's just another camera I'd probably never use. As nice as it is, as unique as it is, as fluid as the workflow is. I mean, I don't know what it is about that camera, but the I've shot with it many times, come to think of it. It's always such a pleasant experience. But then when I gotta put it in my bag, I'm like, gosh, this thing is so big, you know? So that's where it kind of ends for me. And the OM1 is every bit as capable as the M1X, in my opinion. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Maybe one day though. And certainly the EM10 Mark II and the OM1 Mark II, both very good cameras. And Robert says, still have the Canon A1 from 1982. Wow. One of these days we'll take for a CLA and shoot a roll of film just for fun. Yep. Uh, and Lifetime comp video is a great tutorial. Yeah, it's primarily about the Lifetime, and I could have done a better job, but it didn't start out as a tutorial. It just started out as a piece of the uh, review that I was doing. And then, so I just added about another 20% to that video because I had about 6 or 7 minutes already done. Uh, well, actually closer, I had almost 10 minutes of video there already done, and I only had to add a few more minutes to make it actually a tutorial. So I repurposed some content that I was going to throw away. Norm says, I send a lot of people your way and to Robin Wong when they, oh, thank you, Norm. I try. And then Barry says, hi, Rob, your tour's always been so helpful, particularly when I got my M10 Mark II 6 years ago, and a big thank you. Oh, sure, I'm always happy to help. And the M10 Mark II is such a great camera. I think about replacing it sometimes. I'm using it now, actually. This camera here. My M1 Mark III has now been relegated to being a webcam right now. And it's kind of a waste. It's such a good camera. But the M10 Mark II, this one here is not reliable because sometimes it flakes out like this. See? So sometimes it just dies. So I can't rely on it anymore as a webcam. So I had to bring in the EM5 Mark III. The problem with Canon is their lens selection is overpriced, our lenses, but at least have EF lenses work well adapted. Yeah, like I said, they do have a range of primes, pancake primes and things that are pretty reasonable. The 50, the 20, I think it's the 28. Even the 33 is not too expensive, or it's a 35. Uh, and they're 1.8s or f2s, whatever they are. They're not like super fast 1.4s. But if you want their top tier glass, yeah, it gets expensive pretty fast. You know, they're they're crazy expensive. But I feel like, you know, if you're yeah. See, if you're gonna be a one camera system kind of person, then Canon is really expensive, right? Because you get the 24 to 105 f half the price. And I tried to convince my friend just to buy the Tamrons instead of the Canons, but they just they just have it in their mind that the Canon is the best, and they're willing to spend the money and stretch to get what they perceive as the best. And it probably is the best, right? That's why it costs so much. But the difference is like pixel peeping level. It's like so minute. I feel like your money's much better spent, or and if you consider time as money, your time is much better spent perfecting your craft, right? I had the XD20, but sold it off like yeah. Just never used it. It never appealed to me, that camera. The XD50 appeals to me though. So it's purely cosmetic. I wish the XT50 had the same 26 megapixel sensor as the XM5. I don't need 40. And T-Dot says, my daughter used the Canon R5 and R7 for bird, wildlife, landscape, macro. The R7 gives us the reach we desire using the 200. Yeah, Absolutely. I've seen some amazing images from during my photo editing live streams from Canon systems. Someone's been sending ones in from a Canon R50, which have been pretty awesome for birding and stuff. And Mark says, I'd buy the ZF if I found the deal on the green one, but the color versions were hard to get at first. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why you can't just buy them off the shelf in any color. That was a really interesting choice. And I had the Canon G7 back in the days of analog. Wonderful camera with wonderful lens. Yeah, it's very popular. Well, it's let me rephrase this. The old Canon rangefinders, they were they're also they seem to be very well regarded, you know. The thing about these old rangefinders and what makes them more preferable, say over others sometimes, is the optical the viewfinder, such as it is. Uh, some of them are just really hard to look through, and so the camera is difficult to use. But I think the G, the old Canons had a respectable viewfinder, so you can compose your images. Oh my goodness, Adam Farb is here. How you doing, Adam? It's been a long time. Well, maybe not, but yeah, it's good to see you. And David says, take a lot of vitamin C. I do. I take 1,000 milligrams a day since I started sensing this cold back on Monday. And my EP5 camera kit from Olympus looks cool, but doesn't help me make great images. Need function also. Yeah, I mean, I used to really like my EPL8 for vlogging and stuff because I didn't need the viewfinder, but to use it as a photography camera, I really prefer having a viewfinder. And Mark says, never update your Fuji. Everyone is downgrading to 1.03. Okay. Um, I didn't know you could downgrade on Fuji. I guess there's always a way to do things, but what is the most basic inexpensive Fuji kit one can buy and still get to play with the Fuji presets? Probably the XM5 right now. It's $799. If you want to buy used, forget it. They're all like $700-800 used. There's no point in trying to buy a used Fuji. Just if you can't get a brand new XM5, uh, then get a used XT3. That's around $700-800. And then you can look at a used XT20 or XT30. I would steer you towards the XT3 rather than an XT30. But because the thing is, the lenses are a little bit large on Fuji, right? Unless you stay with all their pancakes. But I would say the XT3 with their pancake lenses is your best option used because you can find those everywhere, $700-800. And I think it's worth, I mean, it shouldn't be that much, but if you're going to get a Fuji, that's $700-800. That would be money. That wouldn't be bad because it would have the same sensor as the XM5. Uh, and it would have basically, I think, almost all the film simulations as the XM5, save maybe one or two. So I would go XT3 with some pancakes, and you'll be good to go. If you can't, because the XM5 might sell out, and then you can't get it. And you don't want to buy XT50, XT5. That's just too much money uh, just to try out some film simulations. On a subject of older cameras, I've been out shooting with my old Olympus Pen EP1 with the 17-1.8. I've got some great images with it and enjoyed using it. Yeah. I mean, this has been said so many times, right? The sensor technology in general has not changed much in the last 10 years or so, give or take. certainly some improvements in noise performance, but if you're taking things at base ISO or close to base ISO, a little bit of processing, the images look fantastic out of these older cameras. It's all about the lenses, right? And autofocus has certainly improved since then, but not if you're not like a sports action type person, and a spray and pray, you can get by with an older camera. I was just thinking about it this morning. I really enjoyed my little LX5. It's just a little pocket camera, and but it's fantastic lens, 10 megapixels, and it's so tiny. I love this camera. Um, and this is what inspired me to buy the LX100 Mark II. Was just how good this little LX5 is. Uh, I went out and I haven't shot with this in a while, and it's so well made and it feels very high quality. And it has a 24 to 75 something lens in it. So and it's got the older CCD sensor, which, yeah, the colors are a little bit different, but, you know, for the most part, uh, I don't care about that. But yeah, anybody can go out with these old vintage digicams and stuff and take great pictures, let alone a larger sensor like Micro Four Thirds, APS-C, full frame. My Nikon DF is a 16 megapixel full frame, and the images from that are magical. Just as they are, I feel like they are from this LX5. There's just something about it. My LX100, amazing, amazing. The colors were a little off. I had to fix that in post. So I made a profile. But now I'm so happy with the images I get from that. So, yeah, I don't know. There's always these two conversations, right? It's photography and gear. These are two separate subjects. You can't do one without the other, really. But How's that? We should be back now. Sorry about that. Oh. Ooh, I got a delivery. That's cool. You guys want to see what I got? I don't know what I ordered. It's probably like a cable or something, but let me go get it. I'll be right back. Get back, get back. Get back, wild beast. Oh, it's heavy. What is this? Okay. So something came in from Amazon, and it's got a battery sign on it. So it's battery powered, whatever it is. What could this be? I can't even remember what I ordered. Huh. I doubt it's the Hasselblad back. I just ordered that like 2 days ago. What the heck is this? You know, Viltrox sent me that coffee mug and jacket. I like that jacket they sent me. I have to show you that. Oh, okay. All right. This is cool. It's a flash. 8200 Mark II Pro. Nice. This is actually not something I bought. This is from Godox. They asked me if I wanted one. I said, yeah, I'll take one. Ooh, look at this. I don't think this is already released, right? I don't think there's any kind of embargo on this. Wow. Pretty sweet. I guess this one has like some extra LED lights in it now. So it should be pretty bright. I got a battery fully charged too. As you can see behind me, I'm like a flash. I'm a flash nut. I love flash. All right, Alexa, stop. So it uses the same batteries as my 8200. We'll just turn it on and make sure everything's good. Ooh, it's got an OLED display. All right. Oh, and a light on the side now. Wow, I can actually read that. So if I change modes. Oh, I love that. Nice large display I can read. See? With my dying eyes, I could never see. Problem is I never look at the screen here. I think having this OLED display on this is kind of wasted because this flash, you have to use it off camera. How often are you going to go up to the flash and set it manually? I would say almost never. You're always going to use a trigger to fire this, so I don't get the... Does it have a flash sync port? Oh, it does. So, okay, so if for some reason you're using the flash sync port, then I could see you using this menu. But it makes no sense. It makes no sense in real life. You would just buy a radio trigger and control this because this is going to be mounted 7 or 8 feet away, right? All right, let me turn this off. I kind of missed the switch. I'd rather just turn it on and off, but that's all right. What is this? Oh, that's the battery. All right, nice little case. There you go. Anywho, yeah, stuff just comes in, but most flashes, if Godox wants to send me a flash, I'll take it. I started turning down LED lighting, and although I prefer LED lighting in the studio, flash is generally more portable and you can travel with, like when I go to photo jobs and stuff. I ain't bringing LED lighting to a photo job. I always bring flash, so you can never have enough flashes. Okay, so now I would like the 8100 for handheld. Yeah, me too. They never sent me one of those, but yeah, I don't remember. I don't know why I didn't get an 8100 from them, but I have all these. I have the 8200, so I didn't really need the 8100. And if I'm gonna do handheld, I can just hold up my V1s and stuff. Bad gas when you don't know what you ordered. Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't order that. They just sent it to me. So I kind of ordered it because I said they offered it to me and I said yes. But anyhow, the flash is a monster. It's awesome flash, man. 8200. If you get the pro version, this is the version 2. The only thing I see with the version 2 is that it has an updated OLED screen, which is minor update considering its purpose, right? It's going to be used off camera with a trigger. Why do you need it? You don't even need a display at all, really, but uh there's that. And then I need to take a break here. I'll be right back. Hold on. How's that? Is that? Yeah, that's my audio. How about a picture? There we go. Sorry about that. Uh, anyhow, the I was talking about that flash. Anyway, yeah, flashes are great. 8200. Get the Pro version. You can get the original non-Pro version. The light output's the same between the non-Pro, the Pro, and this one. It's just minor incremental improvements, but the Pro version, uh, the one before this one, ergonomically, it's a little bit easier to use in the field because it has this lip, so you can stand it on the table. So I'll talk about that when I review this one. Mm. And wow, I see Eric is here. Lovely Sunday morning, working, eating McDonald's, extremely healthy Big Mac meal in their parking lot. And Rob Trek to watch. Blistering cold. Yeah, it's cold, isn't it? Luckily, the thermals came in the mail. Yeah, nothing like some good thermals. And Zoltan is in. And Semjon, good to see. Wow, Semjon, it's been a while. And Shri, good morning. Hope you're feeling better. Thanks. Yeah, I feel a little better. I mean, I can handle a cold, right? What I don't like is sore throats. That's how this started. And that was only for like a day and a half. And ever since then, it's just been kind of just general misery, but not, we all have our tolerances for different things. Sore throat is the worst. I just don't like that at all. I don't mind the stuffiness and everything else, that goes with a cold. Headaches, you can take a pill, you'll be all right, take a nap. But a sore throat, you get no relief from, really. Anyhow, uh, sorry about the interruptions there. Okay. So one other topic that kind of crossed my brain this week was about AI, right? And and its impact on photography, but really AI is impacting any creative field. Uh, I'm not too worried about it because a lot of people are complaining about how Instagram's getting flooded with these AI images and fake accounts and et cetera, et cetera. There's even like AI personalities, right? Uh, Not even real people. Uh, and there's a lot of AI generated video now on YouTube and et cetera, et cetera. So in the creative space, AI is definitely a problem. And it's taking a lot of jobs, frankly, right? Uh, Someone left a comment about, you know, someone working in a very high-end studio for movies, working on, blockbuster type movies. And what used to take like a week with, on location, flying to location with models and crew to manage the photo shoot and video, it would take like a week and a lot of money. Now they can do it like in an hour sitting on a computer in front of AI. That I don't know how extreme that example was, but I don't doubt it. Okay. So yeah, there's gonna be a huge loss in the job industry. Automation in general is unstoppable, right? Because we've had automation since the industrial age with robots building cars now, and uh, locally here, the shipping yards and ports are trying to negotiate not having automation in their ports. Uh, excuse me. But in photography and videography, music, oh my God, you guys saw that music video I put out. I've since unlisted it, but I put it out just because a lot of people had asked me, they wanted to hear the AI song I made about Micro Four Thirds. I was doing it just to try it. I said, Is it really that easy to make a song? So, you go into ChatGTP, come up with the lyrics, you go into Suno, and it adds the voice and the melody in any style you want. In seriously, like 10 minutes, I came up with that song in that video. And then I just added my own pictures and things. That's just insane. It's insane. So any creative space, music, art, these things are going to be affected commercially, right? On a commercial level. I don't see any way around it. Uh, so I just I wonder, and there's a lot of people saying that it's going to ruin photography and stuff, and for people like me, it's not going to, right? I mean, I do a lot of photography because I enjoy it. I like going out taking pictures and creating my own images. So it's on the one side, it's a hobby, and then professionally speaking, I don't see any way to do an AI of somebody's event, right? You have to be there in person and take pictures of people that are there. I certainly used a little bit of AI to make some corrections to the images, but for the most part, 99.9%, it's all about, doing the event, taking the pictures, and the architectural stuff that I do of interior spaces and things, I don't see that being affected too much. So for me, commercially, it's not a big deal. But I can see where a lot of people are going to lose their jobs. And these Instagram accounts that are being flooded with fake AI images, fake AI personalities, the best thing we can do as photographers is just ignore them, right? Don't give likes to the images. Don't don't give these AI generated images and videos and whatever else, music, any attention at all is the only thing we can do as consumers. Because if we don't give them any attention, don't give them any of our money, then uh, there's not going to be any motivation there for them to continue doing it if there's no money involved. All the other reasons people do AI aside, because, there's all these fake, doing fake news and things like that. I can, that aside. But as consumers, if we don't pay any attention to it, don't give them any money, then that's going to temper a lot of, I think, this fake AI stuff coming in. Because yeah, it'd be very easy for anyone to go in and, including myself, to just generate a ton of AI images, put them online, Instagram, Flickr, whatever, that look pretty realistic. I mean, it's hard to tell the difference sometimes. They're winning contests. I remember there was a big stink about some AI image winning a photography contest, which if the judges knew what they were doing, they would have recognized it was an AI image. And that's a whole nother story. Uh, but yeah, we can't, so I don't follow or subscribe to anything I think is AI. If I see an AI video online, I don't watch it. And you can kind of tell which ones are AI, right? Sometimes you can't, and you click on it, maybe it's an interesting thing, but for the most part, don't consciously make any decisions that would give AI generated content, whether it's music, video, photography, any creative space, just don't give it any attention. And that should temper it to some degree. But there's no stopping it, right? It's coming and it's going to take jobs. But we can't really do anything about that because as a business, if you can generate something in 1 hour instead of hiring a whole crew and going on location that would take a week and cost way more, why would, there's no way around that. Again, that's about the money, right? Companies are going to save as much money, spend as little as they can to get the most they can. Uh, but I can see a lot of jobs getting lost. Is there an opportunity for jobs to be created through this? I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. Um, sure, some. There's always some, right? But enough to offset where these other people that are gone now, these other jobs that are gone, I don't know. So that's one thing. The other thing is, as a photographer, I don't worry about the AI at all. Because like I said, I'm doing this for my own personal enjoyment. It's about the craft, et cetera, right? It's like, why do people knit? You can buy clothes. Why do people knit? Because they enjoy it, right? Um, if somebody knits a sweater and gives it to me, I would be so grateful. You know what I mean? Because I know that they put their heart and soul into it and their time into making that sweater for me. And I would enjoy that sweater so much more than if they just gave me one that they bought off the shelf, right? So anyhow, I don't want to beat it to, and hopefully that'll mitigate some of the. Oh, I keep getting these messages. Anyway, uh, that's my 2 cents on that. What do you guys think? And T-Dot says, I have a small rig, mini LED cube kit. Oh yeah, those are great. Yep. I used to have the LumaCube, I think. I forget what brand it was. I just use flash now, but like my TT350 if I want to do lighting for macro. But LED lighting is certainly a lot easier. And hey, Santa Rob Trek, haven't been watching gear streams. My bad. What's your recommendation for the best cheap 5 to 10 TG external? Oh, so I assume you mean terabyte. Well, my experience has been Western Digital has always been good to me. So I only buy Western Digital drives. I only have one Seagate drive that's still working amazingly for me. I'm still using it. But in all the years, I understand Western Digital owns Seagate or vice versa. They're really the same company, probably coming out of the same factory, but I've always had better luck with Western Digital. Now that said, in the 5 terabyte range, you can get like external hard drives that are powered by USB-C only or USB only. So it doesn't need its own separate power supply. So that's one way to look at it. When we're talking about 10 terabytes or more, then you need to get a standard external drive that has its own that needs its own separate power source in addition to a plug into the USB-C cable. So if you just need space, because I didn't see you specify if you wanted SSD or uh, non-SSD, I guess, hard drive. Uh, where did your comment go? I was trying to find it. Um, so Marco says Seagate and Western Digital are two separate entities. Okay, thank you, Marco. You're still here. uh, I thought Western Digital and Seagate were the same now, but anywho, that's been my experience. So, yeah, I would look at the Western Digital, and then there's the Western Digital Elements, there's the Western Digital Essentials, something like that. They have their low tier. I think the only difference is really the warranty between, say, the Elements version and Essentials version or something, whatever their low tier. But the Western Digital Elements is usually the best value. When I come on Tuesday for my shopping stream, I'll pull it because I've been shopping myself. I've been looking at a 20 terabyte hard drive uh, from Western Digital. Right now, it's on sale for $320. That's not the best deal ever. You know, I've seen it as low as $270. So I'm thinking about that. But yeah, I've just had good luck with Western Digital. So I buy these. Let me see. These are the ones that are USB-C powered only, or USB powered, I should say. You don't need a separate power supply. I like to buy these Western Digital Blacks. I like the casing. It seems very durable. These have held up for me over the last several years, no problem. This Seagate drive that I bought, dead. This used to be my backup drive. It's gone. That's why there's no label on it. Whereas, you know, this one has a nice label on it now. Just no luck. And then I have all my other drives, Western Digital. Western Digital, you know. Toshiba I've had good luck with too, but I've had one of those die on me. You know, Western Digital. I'm a big Western Digital fan, personally. And I got dozens more of these. Not dozens, but I got probably another half dozen more. This is the Elements version, I believe. Oh no, this is the Passport. Sometimes the Passport is cheaper than the Elements and vice versa, but usually the Elements version is the cheapest. This is the Elements version. This is the Passport version. I think the only difference is that this comes with backup software, which I don't use. I use some freeware. But 10 terabytes is not that much. If I was going to do 10 terabytes, I would just buy 2 5s that don't need their own separate power supply. If you're going to buy one that needs its own power, I would get at least 14, but maybe go 20. 20, you know, between 14 and 20 terabytes is a good mix. And those are usually a good deal. I've seen 14 and 16 terabyte drives sell for about 200, but to go to 20, I haven't seen too many under 300. Just had my 5 terabyte Seagate fail. Yeah, see, Seagate, why? Every time I trust, you know, every time I say, okay, I'm gonna try a Seagate this time, and it works fine, and then it dies. I only have, like I said, I have one Seagate drive still working, and it's been working a long time. But all my other ones are dead. And Marco says, I've had the best luck with Western Digital as well. Instead of multiple external drives, you should consider a NAS loaded with smaller, affordable drives. Yeah. Problem is buying the NAS box is not cheap, right? So you buy the NAS box, and then you have to have some. I mean, you can buy them sort of already prepackaged with the software and everything, and it's pretty straightforward. Or you can, I forget the song. I was looking into that once. If you're a very technical person, you can build your own NAS drive and get this software that's free, and there's all kinds of ways to do that. But there's a lot of prepackaged NAS drives out there that are pretty straightforward, that come with their own software and work pretty well. And but it's expensive, right? So I just keep 2 copies of everything here, and I have a spreadsheet. I'll show you my spreadsheet. So I just keep a spreadsheet, right? So I have my year of photography, whatever additional folders are on that drive. And then where's the copy or duplicate? You know, I should say copy, but duplicate. So I have it on drive D and drive number 8. So currently 2024 I have on 2 drives, on drive D and drive 8. And then, you know, I have the size here. I have 2018, 19, and 2021. I have all that on drives 4 and 5. And I'm able to fit that on a, you know, 6 terabyte drive, basically. 2022, So 2023 is on drive 6 and 7. Missing 2022. Oh, I need to, oh, here it is. Here's 2022. So 2022 is on drive 6 and 7. So I need to update this. 22, 23. Okay. And then down here, I have some other drives 8, 7, 6, drive 0. Clients, pictures, projects. So, basically just come up with a system, right? Just keep 2 copies of everything, come up with a system, and it's not as fancy as a NAS drive, but it works for me. Okay. And Western Digital black drives are the best, yeah. Well, and the black drives, let me clarify a little bit. The black drives are the best. Uh, they generally have the better warranty, like 5-year warranty, but regardless of that, it doesn't matter if the drive dies and you lose your data, what the warranty is. But they usually have a faster spin speed if you get the hard drives. So most hard drives spin at like 5,200. They spin at like 7,200. I think there's some drives that spin at like 10,000 RPMs. So it just gives you faster access to your data, less waiting time on your files and stuff. So that's why a lot of people buy the black drives. The convenience is totally worth it. Remote access and accessible to every system on your network. Yep. For me, it's very simple. I just have my one office, right? I don't need to access my pictures from anywhere else, either off-site, like if I'm out with a client, what do I need access to my own photos for? Or in my house, it's just me by myself. So I just come in here. So I get the access thing, being able to access from multiple computers or multiple locations, but it just doesn't apply to me. It'd be overkill. Seems there is a push to get everyone lockstep with endorsing AI. The criticism seems to have taken a back seat. Yeah, I get that feeling too. Because how are you going to stop it? You know, it's just scary though. Once I seriously, it worries me. It's going to eventually become like the Terminator or every other Hollywood movie about AI gaining consciousness and being self-aware and deciding that you know we can't turn it off. And Steve says, absolutely agree. AI would not go near it. Yeah, just avoid it. I mean, I use AI to put a tree in or plant or something in a scene. Uh, not like in the photos that I put on Instagram and stuff, but for portraits and things, I want a different background. I'll use the AI to do generative fill and things. Just for fun, nothing hardcore, but maybe that's how it starts. It's kind of a gateway drug, right? And this is an old video, but let's see what this is. Oh, cool. Your own 56 terabyte personal cloud uh, NAS storage. That's Marco, by the way, everybody. That's Marco's channel for computers and things. Um, okay. Synology. What is that? No. Okay. They hired the most unmotivated event photographer at the Fairfax Transportation Christmas party last night. Granted, he was very old, but he sat 90% of the time, didn't really mingle at all. Oh, man. All right, so I'm going to give you some perspective of my event photography. I was there on site for 2.5 hours, and I took 600 images. So if you divide that, what is that? 120, 100 and plus another 30. 150 minutes. So 600 divided by 150. So I was averaging 4 pictures a minute while I was there. I did not sit down one time in that 2.5-hour window when I did that event. Uh, Now it's easy to get 4 pictures a minute because when I was taking pictures of people, I would take 2 at a time. Okay, 2 portrait, 2 this way. So and that took less than a minute, right? I was doing 4 pictures in about 30 seconds for most of this time. So it'd be okay. So I would tell them, okay, this is what I would do. I'd say, okay, I'm going to do 2 from the waist up, and I'm going to do 2 full length, right? Just so that you could see their dresses and suits or whatever they were wearing. So I'll go, okay, ready? 3, 2, 1, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2. And then I would turn, portrait mode. Okay, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 30 seconds. I would be taking like 4 pictures. Then the next couple would come up. So I can see, and then I took a lot of test shots, but yeah, I didn't sit down at all. I rarely sit down during a paid event, with the exception of if they're going to serve food and I get to eat. This event, I didn't get to eat. So I was standing the whole time. That's ridiculous. If somebody's sitting 90% of the time, that's pretty lame as a photographer being paid to do an event. Uh, I mean, that I didn't see the pictures. Maybe they're awesome. So I shouldn't say anything until, well, let's see the pictures. But I can't imagine uh he took very many pictures if he's sitting down 90% of the time. And I was going everywhere. I was going table to table to table. And that's where it slowed down. So like in the first couple hours, I was banging them out, like this. I was taking a lot of pictures. People were lining up. And then I walked around and I took pictures of the crowd. I was doing panos of the scene. And then I was done. I was exhausted. That was that night. I talked about that event last week where I had the headache and all of that. But yeah, I didn't sit down, man. And I ended up delivering 200 images out of the 600 that I took, right? Because right away, since I'm taking 2 images of every, a duplicate, right? I didn't need half of them practically. So that knocks the 600 images down to 300 images. And out of those 300 images, I delivered 200 uh, to the client. So I had 200 premium image. They were nice, man. At least I thought they were pretty good. Uh, but yeah, I delivered 200 images. Let me see if I can pull up one. I hate to show them because they're not, yeah, I better not show these. I showed one last week. Uh, yeah, I can't show these because I got everybody's faces in these. Well, here's one I can show. This is more generic, right? This is just one of them. Let's see. Where's another nice generic shot? This is another generic shot. But yeah, there's a couple hundred people there. And well, I can show the band. This was the band. This was during some speech. They weren't doing anything. What else do I have in here? Anyway, you get the idea. Deliver 200 images plus. And John says, I heard that hard drive is best if you store unplugged foam PC. SSD is best kept in PC. Oh, okay. So you heard that an HD is best stored unplugged from a PC and the SSD is best kept plugged into a PC. Marco would have better feedback on this, I think. But yeah, if it's plugged into a PC, a hard drive, it's constantly spinning, so that puts wear on the motors, right? So it's going to fail sooner, theoretically. An SSD doesn't have any moving parts, so you can unplug it from the computer and it's fine, right? It doesn't matter. Or leave it plugged in, it doesn't matter. Now, there is degradation over time on both mediums, right? Whether it's a hard drive or an SSD. I think the consensus is an SSD uh, takes longer to degrade than a regular hard drive. And the hard drive has a lot more risk factors because of all the moving parts inside. So what they recommend is uh, plugging in, whether it's a hard drive or your SSD, into the computer and making a copy. So for example, let's say I have uh, all my data on this hard drive, right? And then what I do is I buy another hard drive and I copy everything from here to over here. So now I have a fresh copy, and then I can use this for something else. So that's basically refreshing because it works by magnets, right? It's magnetic storage. So the magnetism kind of degrade over time. So they tell you just copy everything from here to here. I don't do that, but you could. A good practice would be to do that. SSDs are the same thing. They degrade over time because they have an electrical charge instead of using a magnet, right? So the electrical charge can degrade over time. So they tell you just copy everything from here to here. I think plugging them in actually kind of refreshes everything and gives the charge again. I believe you can just plug them in, and that's effectively doing the same thing as a full copy, if I recall correctly. But I'm not the expert on that. You would need to do some due diligence on that. But I would say uh, every at least every 5 years, I would definitely back up or copy everything. Uh, if you want to keep your photos. I mean, my photos aren't that important. So if everything is gone, it's okay for me. My client work I keep current. I have that backed up both on the cloud and duplicated here in my office. So client work I take take a lot of care. My own personal images, I do the normal thing. I make two copies. If they both die, it's okay for me. I mean, it would suck. Trust me, it would suck, but it's not the end of the world for me. If you're cataloging and archiving your photos for commercial purposes, you're licensing out photos, that's a whole different story. And you really need to have a solid backup plan, right? Data asset management, all of that. Because you have to catalog your images and you have to make sure you can store them and retrieve them at any given time that somebody wants to license an image from you. I don't do that, but something to think about. Oh, this guy definitely ate. Oh man, he loved that catering. Oh God. Yeah. And photo says, saw your reply, camera wraps for the Godox mini flash for my Olympus, great. For my knees, oh, okay, great. I'm glad that was helpful for you. And thanks for coming into the stream. Was hoping that was going to be you there. When I heard there's an event photographer there, was like, maybe it's Rob. No, nobody called me, but you should recommend me next time. I bust my ass at these events. I don't recall ever sitting down at an event with the exception of when it was time to eat. And then I only sat down for about 15, 20 minutes. chowed everything down, then got back to work. I mean, you know, anyway, yeah. And oh, sorry, Marco is responding to you, John, here. Uh, for archival storage, hard drives may be better because SSD periods need to be powered up for maintenance operations. If you use them semi-regularly, they will be no issue. Okay, so that kind of leads into what I was saying before, is SSDs, I think if you plug them in, they're okay. And then you can unplug them, but and yes, SSDs must be powered. Okay, so a lot of you guys know more about this than I do. I just try to maintain general best practices, even though they're not perfect, right? Perfect storage data asset management plan is very complex, right? You have cloud, you have offsite, you have double backups on site. So you really have 4 or 5 places you have the same piece of data. And with redundancies, right? With NAS and RAID and all of that. But that's for people that are seriously doing it commercially and licensing their images, and they need to find, they ask for an image, they need to be able to go back and say, okay, they have a good cataloging system or data asset management, whatever you want to call it. And somebody says, yeah, I like that photo from 1975 of, Main Street and Fulton Street. So you need to be able to go in and find that photo. And then once you know where it is, it better be there in, you know, uh, easy to access and get it, right? And still be there. And if it's not there, you have a backup, that kind of thing. Pucho, hello from New York City. What do you think about the Blu-ray backup for cold storage or legacy data? Thank you for the information. Oh, well, supposedly, uh, Blu-ray, there's so many different formats. Uh, but yeah, Blu-ray, DVD, sort of this optical media storage, right? Where they actually burn uh, a physical pattern into a disc, kind of like the Egyptians, right? With hieroglyphics, they etch things into stone. A DVD or a Blu-ray is not stone. I don't think Blu-ray is as durable as DVD, right? So I would say DVD, but even this medium can degrade over time. But it's like 25 years, right? And then they have some other higher end form of DVD. I forget what it's called. There's another higher tier of DVD that has like 100-year shelf life. But for some odd reason, even these things degrade over time. I don't know if in practice they do, but I've read that it has a shelf life, even optical media. So, and then there's magnetic media like tape, which I think even has a longer shelf life than DVD. I don't know. We're kind of getting into areas that I'm not going to live that long, so I'm not worried about data backup in that respect. Um, God, that's sad to think about. 25 years, I'll be like in my 80s. Ooh, but uh, anywho, just the problem I have with optical media is I don't think Blu-ray is ideal, if I recall correctly, because Blu-ray can store something like 8 gig or something, but DVD media, Marco might know better. Marco would be a better person to ask. So if Marco, if you could answer that. But I understand that the DVD, because there's regular DVD-R, there's DVD-RW, uh, and if you write onto RW, which is a rewritable format, it doesn't last as long as a one-time write, that kind of thing. But it's supposed to be the longest lasting forever storage is DVD. I'm not sure about Blu-ray though. And good evening, Gigi. Good to see you. Um, but yeah, Blu-ray. Yeah, you'll have to look into that, Pucho. I wouldn't worry about it too much though, because you can't fit that much. You can only fit like 4 gig on a DVD and maybe double that on a Blu-ray. I forget exactly how much a Blu-ray. Maybe a Blu-ray holds 25 gig. I mean, that's barely an SD card, right? And Eric says, Rob, where did you send your OM1 for repairs? Mine went to Pennsylvania. Wherever their headquarters is. If I recall properly, I can look it up. Let's see. Oh, no, New Jersey. So, yeah, Olympus Repair Center, 240 South Main Street, Suite C, South Jack, New Jersey. That's where it went back on June 11th. You want to get mine maintenance service. Okay. Wow. Man, you guys asked me tough questions today. Hopefully I was able to point you in the right direction at least, because I didn't have very precise answers today for a lot of the questions because they were kind of way beyond uh which is probably most things in life, to be honest, right? I know a little bit of everything, but not a lot of little things. I don't know. When it comes to camera and tech anyway. So I think I'll just call it here. Because I feel like another I don't know, I'm feeling a little bit off. So I end it here and just wish everyone a very, very happy Merry Christmas, happy holidays, happy Hanukkah. And if I don't see you again, Happy New Year. But I'll be back a couple times. Tuesday, I'm gonna do another live stream, and then Friday probably do whatchamacallit, editing, my normal routine. But other than that, it's so great to have you guys here. It's been a great year with all of you. And thank you so much for all your support over the years. You guys have been great, and I will try and do my best to support you by answering your questions best I can and doing tutorial videos and whatever else I can do. So you guys have a great rest of your week, and I hope I'll see you again soon.